Alrighty, are Aussies better than Hawaiians at Pipeline? Controversial way to start this ep, although begs the question, right? I just feel like it's been a change in the tide, and our young Aussie contingent has been incredible to watch this year, Finley, over in the Banzai Pipeline. What do you think?
Mate, I was extremely impressed by everyone's performances. We really didn't have anyone that had a poor result here. Even for guys like Mikey, he probably didn't progress as far as he would have liked to into the event. But just for him to make that statement in the early rounds, come out of that with a 9.5, did lose next heat, but it's just confidence building across the board. We had, we probably had 5 or 6 guys in the quarterfinals as well. Ended up with 2 lads in the grand final. I think one of the better Australian showings in any kind of pipe event. I haven't looked at the numbers there, but it'd have to be right up there, because to have that many people going that deep into the draw from one country, and that country wasn't Hawaii, was pretty special. And I was extremely proud to be Australian after watching those lads.
Oath, mate. That was so good to watch. It was just the boys going 1 for 1, all of them feeding off each other. So we'll jump into that a bit further and a bit deeper as we go into this one. We're going to talk all things L Challenger Pipeline. We're going to walk through who went well, who didn't go so well, the disappointments, all that jazz that we usually do. We're also going to talk about another sponsorship change, a few big ones, and just go around the grounds, chat. We went to a movie prem. Fuck, how good's a movie prem? We need to bring those back. Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it, eh?
Yeah. Well, you just touched on that. I didn't actually go to it. How was the Ritual movie?
I'll be honest with you. I was walking in there with, I don't want to say low hopes. That wouldn't be correct. But I was walking in there thinking I was going to get loud music, just like grungy, like garage band rock, like, and then like heaps of just like so much just going on, like really quick, like one turn waves, like and like that kind of vibe. Complete opposite. This thing is incredible. And I heard it getting bounced around in the office before I even went as best movie ever. I don't know, but it bangs on the door of the question of, is this the best movie in the last decade? I would be comfortable in saying that and having that on my tombstone when I pass away. Ritualistic Tendencies is the best movie in the last 10 years. Calling it right now, Largo official, mic drop.
That's very high praise for what is essentially a plug movie. It's a welcome to the brand, welcome to the team type setup, and for that to be the best movie that you're calling the last 10 years it's a very good thing for Ritual. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock, Ritual is a new Sunny brand that's kind of been kicked off by the likes of Harry Bryant. Who are the guys on the is it Dion Agius, Harry Bryant?
Dion and Wado, I believe, are the two brains behind this. And then you got Mikey, who is an investor. I'm guessing an investor. And then you got, I feel like their whole team, like I'd say 3/4 of their team actually are probably investors, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know if like Miller Brown and, Huey and that are investors. Maybe they're just team riders, but that's kind of the feel. It feels like this big happy family where they all just go and, get the best waves ever. Some of the parts in this thing, Finley, are insane. The Mexico section, which has already been like semi-leaked, cast your mind back to Mason Ho, and he's like, do you know how he's like doing that thing with his hands? Like there's that whole section, like that wave that he's surfing. It's a whole section, and it's a fucking banger song. And it's just Mikey, Miller, Huey, Mason, I think Holly Warren's in there as well, just packing the scariest cones into a death closeout. Like it's sick, but it's almost like you're watching them go, it's going to get him at some point. And some people like get ones that look like Kira, and you're like, oh, maybe they'll just make it. But no,
Yeah.
the closeout section always catches up. But yeah, the movie's just, it's where really good surfing meets a clean edit. I'm a big slut for a clean edit. I don't like just like graphics blasted everywhere and fucking like live. You know, I don't even know what they're called. All the graphic designers are probably
Over
just
overstimulating sometimes, isn't it?
just too much. It's just like I came to watch surf, not just little like stick figures fucking doing weird shit. Like I
Yeah.
could go anywhere else for that. I just want to watch some real good surf. If you go back Dear Suburbia, and you know that's obviously got that little peacock thing, but it's pretty minimal. Where
Yeah.
fucking and that chick's boob and banana and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but like they're the crux to those old films, like Modern Collective, is just banger songs. Intersections, another one. It's just song, clip, good surfers. Like that's the recipe. Don't overdo it. And Wado did so fucking well on this one. So yeah, big rant over ritualistic tendencies. I would happily go pay a ticket and watch that again.
It's funny as well because the principle behind Ritual is like affordable sunnies. The
Mm.
price point of them, they're less than $100 for, I imagine, like the entirety of the range. There might be a couple that are sitting just on that mark, but we've got them in the shop in Lennox at Lennox Head Surf, and yeah, I think the most expensive pair we've got is about $90. But their team is A plus plus. Like they've got all this talent and all these guys that probably getting paid fairly highly from their major sponsors, and they've got them onto this team of a brand that is essentially affordable sunnies, and they've just absolutely nailed the marketing side of it. They've nailed the team, and by the sounds of it, they've nailed the movie drop as well. So good on them.
Yeah, and a big part of why I enjoyed it so much is you just rarely sit in a film studio or theater that we were in where it's blacked out, the sound is incredible. Uh, that kind of avenue to display surf films is so underrated.
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking like it's hard to like log in on Stab sometimes and you see a movie go for 17 minutes. Like perfect example of this is I really wanted to watch Chapter 11's new clip with Parker, and I
Mhm.
saw it went for 17 minutes and I got to like 3 minutes, and it's probably a sick clip, but it's like when you're on your laptop or your phone, like you got all these fucking notifications, you got emails coming in, and you just next thing you know, it's playing in the background of a tab of 15. Like right now, speaking to you, I've got 7 tabs open. I
Yeah.
just feel like when when you watch things online now, it's so hard to dive in and feel immersed. But fuck, sitting in that theater was just it was full attention for
Yeah.
45 minutes. I think
Mm.
the whole industry needs to take note there and go, maybe we need to start pushing some humans into a crowded box and dim the lights, pull the curtains across, and get a fucking hell soundtrack in there. And that's the way that you know that was the cream on top for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Turn your phones off, put them on do not disturb or whatever. And I think it's the ADD nature of what we've become, and the three
Mm.
second attention span that we seem to have for content now. If you're not captured within the first 3 seconds, and the clip itself generally is a bust. So yeah, I guess that's how it is. And yeah,
Mm.
you're right. Maybe it is the best format for surf content in an ever increasing world of ADD humans.
Well, it's like going back in circles, right? In a cycle, I should say. Sorry, like the whole Y2K thing's in. Like maybe Prem's going back to theaters is coming back as well. I don't know. Just I don't think they'll go back to like a movie cinema. That's a bit weird. But like the
Yeah.
Byron Theater, perfect. It'd be good if you could put a few more humans in there. But that style of premiering songs, yeah, big fan, my friend.
Well, it's definitely phones, right? Like I'll watch a Netflix series and friggin' I'll just find myself on my phone for half of it. Yeah, like to the point where I can watch a series like 3 or 4 times and discover new things each time I watch it because
Mm.
I didn't pay attention the first time. So yeah, like I say, maybe there's something to that. Let's move on from that though. Bit of news this week. You touched on uh, bit of sponsorship news. We were tight-lipped on it last week. Connor O'Leary officially signs with Athens. a very, very smart pickup there from that brand. They don't have a huge representation in terms of team. And I think for them now to have put themselves on the biggest stage in surfing, Connor's going to be wearing the trendy gear, the trendy hats in these post-heat interviews. And it's really going to put them on the map on a global scale. There's going to, like, you look at the surf comps generally, and that has changed in recent years. We've had like majority of the tour sponsored by maybe 4 or 5 key brands. That's starting to break up now, and it's this little niche Byron Bay sort of stoner core brand has found its way onto the world tour, and they make some pretty cool gear, and it's a huge signing for them. It's great for Connor, and yeah, I think it's just he fit at the beginning. It was a bit of a shock to me. I even text you going, "Geez, I don't know how good of a fit that is," but as I've sat on it and as I've seen their clip drop, it kind of just makes more and more sense as the days go on.
Yeah, I think this one shocked a few people, Finley, and
Mm.
you're correct in you're okay to have that idea that he doesn't fit it. I had multiple people say that's a really strange fit. And I say, you know what, to what you see on his Instagram, yeah, I get that. But obviously been good mates with him for a long time. We spend a lot of time when the cameras aren't out and whatnot. And he's actually a super trendy bloke. He
He's really
likes like I wouldn't call it high fashion. He's not wearing fucking Louis shit and stuff. Well, probably has some, but I don't know. He's not wearing like that kind of stuff, but he actually cares about like what he looks like. There's some crew who would be happy to wear whatever, but not him. He does care. You you're eager to tell me something.
I have a question. Well, not a question. High fashion. Have you seen the shoes he wears, mate? He's got golden goose shoes on. That's high
Oh yeah,
fashion.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But you know, when I think high fashion, you're thinking like Versace and you know
Yeah.
Hilfiger and shit. I don't think he's not dabbling in that,
No.
but he truly does care like what he looks like. For example, we went to a wedding together probably 2 months ago, and I looked at him, and he's like wearing the glasses and like just a really nice getup, and I was like, mate, you look fucking phenomenal, and he's got good taste, and I feel like Offends is probably the closest he'll get to that in the surf space
Yeah.
without going to like one of those bigger brands. So I was actually really happy for him when I heard that. I heard, you know, Offends, and I went, that's a really good fit for him personally, and yeah, so I'm frothing. It would be interesting when they do the post date interview and he's got like a big hemp hat on or something like that, and Asada and drug or organization have probably got to fucking probe up his ass every 5 seconds. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm frothing for him. Huge for Offense. They've never had a CT surfer
No.
ever, so
Mhm.
that's a real big one for them. And yeah, it's bit of a shock. I feel like now we feel Brazilians will probably start feeling like we feel like when all the Brazos get sponsors that we just have no idea about. Do you know how their board's just like plastered with 100 things?
Yeah.
They're probably looking at this going like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah.
who is that? So now it's
Mhm.
playing field.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I made that remark earlier. It's made more and more sense to me as the days are going on, and the clip that they dropped kind of just confirmed it in my head. I was like, yeah, this is a really good brand alignment here. So yeah, good on you, Connor.
How is he? He definitely teased this out there. Like he didn't really mic drop. Here it is, posted on Friday night at like 6 p.m. There was a few stories getting out there. He put up a story with I think I was in it. That's how I knew because I got tagged in it. And then it was deleted in like 2 hours time, and I was like, yeah, someone someone got into him. I would say
Yeah.
probably the management team going a little early there, bud.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then DH put something up, and I think I reshared something on Largo, and I think that was when people were like, "Hang on a minute, what is that an offense sticker?" I think you know when you watch a pro surf, like without an announcement, it kind of you're not looking like for any changes on the board, you're just looking at them surf. There was
Yeah.
probably two clips, three, actually maybe like two or three clips that he featured in that were on Instagram 5 days before he even announced that, and it kind of flew under the radar. I was sitting there waiting for my phone to fucking blow up, and it kind of never did. So, well played, sir.
Yeah, yeah. No, we had a few eagle-eyed listeners in our DMs going Connor to offense, and it was definitely the worst kept secret in pro surfing. You didn't have to be a genius to figure out where he was going with all the leaks that were popping out. But yeah, congrats to Connor, congrats to Fens. and it's exciting to see where he's going to take this brand because I think he's going to be huge for him. We'll move on to the next little news bite. Happened late last night, and I was on my phone, and I mean, it didn't evoke an immense amount of emotions from me. But Alejo Muniz hanging up the Rashi at the end of this year comes out nice and early to announce it. It's actually he spent 8 years trying to get back on the tour, requalified by the skin of his teeth last year, and then he just goes, "Oh, I think I've had enough. I'm going to do one more year this year." And maybe it's him going a little admission that he doesn't think he's maybe cut out for. He's not going to be on tour beyond this year anyway, even if he does have a proper crack. But he's come out nice and early. It's actually it's refreshing because it's the exact opposite of what John's been doing, like leading crew on for so long and then going, yeah, I'm coming back, and then no, I'm actually not. I'm done. Alejo's just comes out before a heat's even been surfed and drops the mic. So good on him. It's been a bit of a scattered career for Alejo. Came on, was really impressive to begin with. Then had a lot of soul searching to do back on the QS and the Challenger Series after that. Got his way back on. Now he's hanging up the boots. So good on you, Alejo.
Question.
Yes.
Did he qualify for this year?
Yeah, he got back on, man.
Oh, well, that sums it up. Next.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother. If I have to ask if you're on tour, then yeah, I think retirement's going to look pretty good. Nothing against you, mate. It's been a great run and good on anyone who can, do it for that long. I have immense respect for it. It's a full grind, but yeah, you know what I mean. Trying to beat around the bush here, but if I had to ask if he was on tour, it's kind of like, there you go.
Enjoy. It definitely didn't bring a tear to my eye to know that he was hanging the boots up, but he's been an absolute battle horse throughout his career.
Did he ever get a win?
He may have got one very, very early on in his career. He got third at was it Burley? That was to re-qualify. Remember, he had to get a really big result, and he friggin' did it. So, yeah, good on him. And it won't be overly sad to see him go, but a great career nonetheless. So, good on you, Alejo.
Is that an extra spot then?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I think what will happen, I've done zero research. If someone on tour announces a retirement, I believe it'll just open up a 23rd spot, if that makes sense. But that's only if he requalifies, which chances are he won't, in which case it's not going to change anything. It's just going to be another person that drops off the tour at the end of this year. So, I mean, we can fiddle around with that later on if he comes out and wins bloody Bells and Snapper, and then we got to actually think about it. But I'm sure it's not going to happen.
Oh, so he's not hanging up the boots now?
No, he's surfing.
Oh,
he's surfing.
Fuck.
Yeah,
his announcement was in Portuguese, so I didn't know if he was the new commissioner. I thought it was either he's retiring or he's the commissioner of WSL, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. So when you say he retired, I went, oh, good on him. Yep, no worries. Yeah. I got another year. I got 2026 with Alejo. Okay. Sorry, bud. Fuck, I just cooked him pretty hard.
Oh. That's all right. Bud. I wasn't overly kind to him, but again, I said it a few times. Good on him. Good on the lad. Now, Zach, I've actually got a bone to pick with you.
One more sponsorship change. I want to talk about.
Oh, you want to? Okay, sorry. Go into that before I pick the bone that I have. Go on.
You've picked your boner. Okay, can't wait to pick your boner. This is a pretty strange one, but Dylan Graves, so obviously a huge name in surfing and has his YouTube series, repping quite a large Kia Motors sticker on the board. And I was watching his last video. I think he's in like way up north in Norway, Europe somewhere. And there was a lot of like car stuff, like zooming in on the Apple CarPlay and the cars and stuff. And I was kind of like, interesting. I've always got a bit of an eye for that, for like a little subtle plug. Yep. And then, yeah, sure enough, he's doing a turn and a big old whopping Kia Motors sticker on the board. I think this is what we need. We need so much more of like big brands like this coming in. I just think this is. I find it interesting that they're keen to dabble in that space. What do you think?
He's more of the Nate Florence mold, where he's taken his career to YouTube and has carved out a really successful, I guess, social media and content career. And I feel like that's maybe where you start seeing these non-endemic surf brands start entering the picture. Obviously, Nate Florence with a few key surf brands. You've got Florence, you've got Red Bull, um, FCS, or like GoPro, whatever. But then he's also got his non-endemics. Like, I'm pretty sure his sponsor, it's one of his major sponsors, like a betting company, and I feel like they're maybe more inclined to reach out to someone like Nate or like a Dylan Graves because of how big their reach is online. Whereas
Mm,
someone like I don't know, Jake Marshall, who doesn't really have an online presence, has his Instagram, competes on the tour at a really high level, doesn't have that same reach, and therefore not bringing as much value to these brands.
mm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think Kia, if you get picked up by Kia, and they're just giving you a few cars, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Another one I've seen, I don't think it's new though, is AG1 Greens, Fanning, Laura, Eneva. Yeah, that's a bit of a new one to the space. I think that he's been riding them for like almost a year. But again, a huge fucking sticker. When I saw it, I was like, that's a huge sticker.
Yeah.
Does a huge sticker mean a big pay? I'm not sure.
Well, Joe Rogan plugs those guys, so I mean, they must be willing to pay out
I
a
think
fair.
they're one of the biggest health powders pretty much on the planet. So
Yeah.
very interesting. If I'm a grommet coming up through the ranks, maybe it's time to look on the broader horizon to these bigger companies because maybe they are keen and just got to ask. Don't know.
Yeah, maybe we start sending out some resumes. Now, I really want to get to this bone to pick with
Your
you.
boner. We can get
Yeah,
you a bone. Yes.
it's been plaguing me. Now, we've discussed on this podcast before. I believe we have
This
anyway.
isn't going to end well for me, is it?
Uh, I mean, it just depends how you respond to what I have to say, but usually, like, our communication styles differ quite greatly. You're very blunt, straight to the point, ABC, this is how it is. I'm a little bit more.
Yeah. No, okay. Yep.
Is that fair to say? You're pretty just straight to it
Yes.
compared to me, who is more than happy to beat around the bush a little bit, add a little bit of emotion to a text message, ensure that whoever is messages feels content with the response they get.
Yeah.
Now, listeners, if you DM us, you'll probably be able
Can
to
I
pick
jump?
who's. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Some of your responses involve in a full bukkake on the other person.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that because the listeners now will be able to pick who's responding to them based on that.
Yeah.
Now, the bone I have to pick with you. So Tuesday morning, my phone lights up. Now this happens a lot. We've had a couple good reels in the last week or so, and the phone's been going off quite a lot, which has been really nice.
The fact that
But
you have Instagram on as a notification is, I think that's wild. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
no, I'm onto it, mate. I like to be on the pulse always. But these notifications, they weren't just comments or likes. Or I actually don't have likes turned on. I've got comments turned on. But yeah, they weren't just comments. These were DM notifications. Now, usually I'm fairly quick to respond to those. But then I look at my phone and my Face ID registers, and I see who they're from. They're from Mr. Kelly Slater. Basically the beacon of our podcast, someone that we've, I guess, from the very get-go, aspired to get on at some point. And when I see that they come in, that these messages come in, and they're in response to something you've said, it gets me. I go from very excited to complete shock and horror very quickly.
From boner to placid. Yep. Gotcha.
Well, just scared essentially
Mhm.
because I don't know
Mm.
what you're saying. Uh,
So you're
I'll
scared
spare.
I'm damaging reputation of the podcast. Go ahead. Yep.
Yes. Now I'll spare the listeners the details of the message itself, but I just want to highlight how you started and addressed the man before we do anything. So you can respond to this however you like. The first two words you said, no hello, you wrote Big Kel. Do you want to talk us through your thoughts there?
Big cow. Yeah. Okay. So I was sitting on my flight to Melbourne. I'm currently in Melbourne. And I was like, I want to get Kelly Slater on the potty. And I said, this bloke gets DMs every day.
Mhm.
Kelly Slater, oh my God, my biggest fan. Can you sign my left butt cheek? My daughter loves you. Can you get me 9 signed surfboards? I went, Big Kel, what's going on? Because he's going to look at that and just go, oh, finally, not a fucking bot. And
Mm.
did it work? He messaged instantly.
Now, we got a reply, shockingly, and I don't know how,
Instantly?
instantly.
Because it's the Big Kel. I called him Big Kel.
Well, I also just want to just touch on how you finished the message,
Mm-hmm.
and how you landed on this one, because you signed off the message with "Let us know, Big Dog." This is the greatest surfer of all time, and you've called him Big Dog. Can you speak on that also, please?
He's the fucking biggest dog there is. Are you kidding?
We don't know him, mate. I've never talked to him in my life. You are
I've spoken to
insane.
him once. I've spoken to him
Brilliant.
once. Best
Yeah.
friends.
Do you
Best
know who
friends.
you
Kel
are?
and I are best friends.
Insane, mate. Insane.
Okay.
Now,
I've
before
just got
you
to say, you have to bring me the validity in saying that he gets DM'd all the time. And I said, and in the message, the crux of the whole message was, I'm going to reframe this in a way that he has a curious mind. I know he does. So I was like, I'm going to one curious mind to another curious mind. I'm going to reframe this DM away from what he's probably thinking.
Mm.
And I'm just going to shoot it and see what happens and shoot for the stars. Finally, we landed on the stars, not even the moon.
Now you say that it's been radio silence since. So to the listeners out there, I
Since
don't think.
that's to him. I shouldn't have
Yeah,
sent that pic.
yeah. Uh,
Mm.
we don't have a Kelly Slater interview in the works at all. We did get a reply, and it was seeming hopeful for a second, but it's since gone quiet, and we're not really banking on anything. But it was
What's
cool to
the
get
space?
a reply from him. But watch the
Yep.
space, because we won't give up on it. But yeah, I just thought it was important for the listeners to know basically how you started and signed off the message to the greatest surfer of all time in an attempt to get him on the podcast.
It was Big Kel or Rob Dog Millionaire.
Yeah, both of which are extremely disrespectful, and I would have been angry. I probably would have been angrier if you wrote Rob Dog Millionaire or whatever it was, but Big Kel isn't much better. Now,
Big Kel, fucking, I reckon he's frothing. He's really
Big,
happy. Now, should we get back to where we started? Pipe Challenger.
yes, please.
A lot to cover. And how was your streaming of this? Would you say you watched 50%, 60%, 70%? Because interestingly, it's 3 hours ahead. So you would usually miss half of this event.
I watched majority of it. I won't say I watched all of it, but I watched enough to have a thorough understanding of what happened. And the notes I have prepared here are extensive, and that is based on my viewing of the event. So let's go straight into, basically, we have 2 winners at the end of it. Cal Robbo from the clouds comes and takes the event out. More on him later. We have Morgan Siblick in at 2nd place. We have Griffin Colapinto 3rd, and Eli Hanneman coming in at 4th. On the ladies' side of things, Gabby Bryant takes the event out. I believe Aaron Brooks in 2nd, Molly Picklum 3rd, and Nat Laylor, who I actually referenced in the preview for this event as someone who wasn't going to catch a wave at pipe. She actually makes the final, which was surprising, but it wasn't when I went and looked at the heat total she was clocking up, because she was very lucky to get there based on that.
She smashed it to get to the final, but that final was pretty.
Yeah, and pretty crazy to think. We've talked on this extensively, but the maximum points the Challenger Series surfer got in this event was a 4th place, which, if I just quickly pull it up, it was, I think, around like 5,000 points, 5,500 points for that was the most you could clock from a potential 10,000 in this event, which is a shame.
So
But if you're
Big waste of time
Yeah,
for the
basically.
women's side.
Well, if you were
Yeah,
already sat in the top 8 or whatever it is, top 7, you're pretty happy because not a lot of movement happened behind you. There's no one coming from out of focus with 10,000 points straight up into the qualification scenario, and that moved up 8 placings on the rankings with 5.6 thousand points there. But yeah, she's still a fair way off qualifying, so it's going to be I mean, a better result there. If she can clock a second, then she's suddenly right in the picture. But yeah, a bit of a downer there. Let's go into our picks though for the event. So,
I did
uh,
extremely well. We don't need to look at them. Moving on.
well, safe to say I came out on top here. So on
Mm.
the ladies, I picked Molly Picklum, 4th place. Vahidi Mahana didn't do well at all. I think round of 32 or something. Sierra Kerr, quarters. Aaron Brooks, 2nd place. So I had 2nd and 4th in the event. You had Katie Simmers. Katie Simmers. She made the quarters. More on her later. Betty, semis. Zoe McDougall, no good. Airway, quarters. And then on the men's side of things, I had Griffin and Eli for 3rd and 4th, and I had Cowley and Jacob for quarters each. You had Seth Barrett, Josh, and Sheon. None of them made the quarterfinals. So
Although
definitely,
Xiao got the best wave of the event, just forgot to put his ratio on and missed his heat, and it was 3 seconds after.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
won the free surfing side of things. But yeah,
Yeah. No bueno there, mate. So let's move into some surprises and disappointments from the event. I mean, we'll go surprises first. Tia Zabrowski. This girl just keeps impressing. I thought if there was an event that she was going to struggle at, it'd be here based on her youth and inexperience, but she looked one of the more comfortable surfers in the draw, and that's including the CT surfers that were also there. She's just bloody impressive. Semi-final finish here, moves about 7,000 points clear of 3rd place in the rankings. So, I mean, she was home and hosed before this, but she's just even greater, increased the gap there. She's actually tied with Yolanda on equal points. Yolanda's got her on a count back as it stands, but there's going to be a bit of a fight for that 1st place between those two girls at Newcastle. But that was pretty much the only surprise I had from the ladies. It was dominated by the CT surfers. I was going to include in that, but then I went and had a look at her actual heat totals, and they weren't overly inspiring, so I didn't end up including her. On the men's side of things, we'll start off with the man himself, Cal Robson. Am I surprised Cal registered a good result at Pipe? No, I'm not. He's a madman. Am I surprised he won the event, though, with the names that were in the draw and the waves that they were ended up being provided with? Yes, I just wasn't aware he had this type of performance in him. I want to do a bit of a deep dive into this win because it was a very special one, and not for the reasons you might be thinking. He just completely embodied the phrase peaking at the right time. Up until the final, Cal had won just one heat. He had one score above a 5.67, and he'd averaged a heat total of 10.27, which in a challenge ice is pretty rarely going to get you through your 2nd round heat, let alone to the final. But if you watch his heats, the low scores weren't because he wasn't surfing well. He was just doing exactly what was required of him in each of those heats to get him through. He then finds himself in a final where you can pretty safely argue he was the least fancied surfer in that final. He goes out, posts 14 points relatively quickly in deteriorating conditions, goes to turns because he knew he had to, leaves everyone chasing big scores, and then manages the last 10 minutes of the heat with priority. And it's literally the perfect event from him. You could not have surfed that heat, that event any better than what he did with the waves and the heats he was provided with. And I think it's just a real lesson to crew competing, Groms coming through. Surf what's in front of you. Don't look at what's going on in the draw around you. He had all his mates, all his fellow Aussies dropping 8s and 9s every single heat. He had no luck with that. But when it counted, he stepped up, he got it done, and he posted his biggest heat total of the entire event in the final and takes the chockies. Zach, I don't know if you got anything to add to that, but I was really impressed with this event from Cal.
that was a great monologue. Well done. Yeah, love that the Lismore boy got the dub.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're a fellow Lismore boy. I'm a fellow Lismore boy, so hit
Mate,
home.
I'm from England, mate. I'm Pommy.
Oh, forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't citrus us a mortal Lismore. But yeah, I think you summed it up really well, and it's don't shit the bed too soon. And he's just this is Cal Robbo, just discipline to a T. Head
Yeah,
down, go, go, go. Look at everything else he does, like with Project Six, with the way he just conducts himself, like through. I just feel like he's so switched on, like putting his face all over his Instagram and stuff like that's nerve wracking. Like we're going through that now, and we're still like, oh fuck, like this is kind of gnarly. And he's just like, you know what, I don't care, going
mhm,
for it. And
yeah.
I just feel like good things happen to people who put themselves out there. And Cal Robbo got it done. Love it.
Eh, How's that for you? A budding sort of. I mean, I'm guessing he's setting himself up for coaching post career with this Project Six.
Mm.
Coming home with an event win at Pipe is a pretty nice one to have on your mantelpiece in terms of sort of notoriety and being able to back up what you're saying. So
I think
from the
Project Six just went up like $5 at
yeah,
least.
yeah,
$10
for
maybe.
sure. Yeah, Project Six is trading much higher than the crypto that I currently have in my account right now. We won't
Buy
touch on
the
that
dip.
though.
Buy the dip.
But from the dead set car par, he's now found himself in 11th place and a red hot chance at qualifying with a good result at Newey. Bravo, Cal. A real working man's victory there.
Blue collar.
Eh,
It feels like the Connor win at J-Bay.
Yeah,
Just
does.
fucking amazing. No one there is going, oh, boo. Actually, there would be some people there who are going, boo. And I reckon it's everyone in the round of 128 of the Hawaiians definitely
Yeah.
going, boo. And they can stick it where the sun don't shine because the fucking Aussies, mate. Let's talk about that. That was I don't think has there been a stronger push from the 25 to 30-year-old Aussies that are currently traveling together. Like the whole squad, the squad goal was 10 out of 10.
It was incredible, mate. I'm just going to pull up the. I know there was a number of them in the actual quarterfinals and beyond, but I just want to get the actual amount here because it was quite ridiculous. So we had Morgan, we had Xavier Huxtable, we had George Pitter, Callum Robson, Liam O'Brien, Jacob Wilcox, all in the quarterfinals. So yeah, to the other countries, you can, as you said, stick that where the sun don't shine. And it leads me into the next point, which is my next surprise, and maybe not a surprise at all, but Morgan Siblick was mine and many others MVP of this event.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged, so I touched on before, Cal averaged about 10 points, 10.27, and then got 14 points in the grand final to take the thing out. Morgan averaged 14 points, a bit over across the entire event. Looked amazing when the waves were good. Pushed Cal right to the end in the final. Lost by decimals, but I mean, we couldn't really lose there. One or the other was going to win, and we went 1 and 2. So bloody how good. His wave selection was top tier. Never really looked like he wasn't going to progress in any of the heats that he surfed. Seems to be completely comfortable in those style of waves. And this was summed up pretty perfectly by the 9 he got in his quarterfinal, which was just chef's kiss. Faded the takeoff perfectly, which on a wave of that size, he makes it look easy, but it's pretty terrifying. If he gets it half a second wrong, he's copping a lip to the head or he's going straight through the trapdoor and ending up on the reef below. So that was just kind of what summed it up perfectly, how comfortable he was at backdoor. And second place here jets him up into a really nice 7th position on the leaderboard. And with the final event at his hometown, he'd be looking very, very kindly at that. And
Mm-hmm.
he'd be backing himself to be at Bell's in a couple months' time.
Yeah. Back where he belongs. Morgs is incredible surfer, and he had he had that really strong push early. His first year, final five, incredible.
Yeah.
Went from the local hometown hero to onto the world stage really quickly and capitalized on the world stage. And then kind of, I don't know, maybe lost a bit of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd be okay with us saying that.
Yeah.
It feels like it's come back again. This is like a resurgence, I feel, after that event. It
Yeah.
could be a dangerous tear coming from young Morgan.
Yes, absolutely. I don't even know. I can't remember if I said his name before. I just looked then. George Pitar also made the quarters. I can't remember if I
Yes,
named him before. I
you
did.
did list Georgie boy.
Good.
Yeah.
I couldn't forget him because that 9.77 he got was just out of this world. We've got a
Mm,
question on that later. We'll get to that then. But I basically just want to rinse and repeat basically what I said about Morgan to the rest of those guys. Just very impressive. Xavier Huxtable as well. Just really stepped out of his zone there and put himself on the map, because I don't think many people realized he had that kind of performance in him in waves of that substance. So good
mm.
on Xavier as well. Jacob Wilcox would have been happy with a quarterfinal. He's improved his position, but God, if those waves stayed good and he
Mm.
was able to progress, like he would have been really banking on this one, but gets to go back to the event that he won at the start of this year. So he's still inside that top 10, and I just really hope he can just knock it out of the park. Throwaways and all that come into it now. He's registered a few low results, so he's not needing to replace much, which is handy for him. He just has to progress through a couple of heats, and he'll be bettering his total already. But we will do all of that style of analysis going into Merriweather when we know what's happening there. Um, the next surprise I had was Eli Hanneman. We've had mixed reviews on him throughout the year. I know you have your own thoughts on Eli, but God, he just keeps impressing this year. Had a meltdown in the final, but you could see what his game plan was going into that, which was just punt and hope for the best. And usually it pays off for him. It didn't this time. Paid off for him at the Florence Pipe Pro that he won. You could just see he was going for the similar game plan there. Didn't happen this time, but a fourth place just puts him even further up on top of the rankings. Uh, when the wind swung onshore, I actually thought it might have benefited him a little bit more, but it seemed to actually just, like say, he kind of just went and had that shocker of a final. But when it was barreling, he was looking really tough to beat. I know he's spent a lot of time there, but yeah, he was definitely one of the more comfortable and more technically sound surfers in the draw.
We've got to circle back to the final after you
Mm.
go through this. I've got a boner to pick. You can pick my boner this time.
With Eli,
No, just with a certain individual, not you,
yeah,
not your boner.
okay. Well, I'm pretty happy to leave that there with Eli. I'm just excited to see what he can do when he's back on
Also,
the main tour.
how is he a surprise? He won literally the last event, and he's Hawaiian.
It wasn't like a surprise. It was just like he just keeps like doing really well. Like I guess I'm surprised in his consistency across this year. I
Okay.
never really seen him as a surfer of this kind of consistency. He seems to have really breakout performances for one heat maybe or one event, and then you don't hear of him. Whereas this year
Mm.
he's been across the board really good at every event really. So that's maybe more so where that's come from. And then my last surprise though, and one that I guess he's the dark horse of all dark horses, Jorgan Kuzinet. Never even crossed my mind to select this bloke in my picks. He's got himself a semi-final finish in actually quite impressive fashion. Tube technique, wave selection was actually pretty good throughout the entirety of the event. And he's put himself up in the 13th place on the rankings. Now, going to need a huge result at Nui, because the way these points have basically settled, there's some gaps starting to appear between the top 10 and the rest. But he's definitely in that qualification picture. And I don't know about you, Zach, but I definitely didn't have him making the semis here.
Nah, I don't think many people would have had him at the forefront of mind when picking a hypothetical scenario for the end of this.
Mm,
Good on you, Jorgs. Well done, mate.
yeah. Now, let's get into some. I normally like doing the disappointments first, because then we finish on a bit of a high, but we can do them second this time. There's actually not that many. Uh, I've lumped two groups of people together for the ladies. So I've gone Katie Simmers and Luana Silva. They both just had pretty bad heats, but Luana especially should not be losing in the round of 32 in a Challenger Series event. She's better than that, and she's got experience on the board at pipe, whereas a lot of these girls don't. Now, I think Katie Simmers as well made it a heat further than Luana. She actually made it to the quarters, but I need someone, and I don't even know how we would do this, but I need someone to go back and find the last time Katie Simmers had a heat total of less than 1 point, because she lost in the quarters with 0.83 combined two wave total.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. That's gonna be hard to beat. Almost impossible. It's like a
That's
no show.
low. I guess the only other way you can do worse than that is either not take off, because like if your hands leave the rail, like you're gonna get something. Like I think the lowest score I've seen is like a 0.27 or something. So you could maybe have a couple of those, but if you're on the tour, then generally you're gonna at least make a takeoff and at least do a wiggle, which is going to get you a one.
Can I just circle back
0.82.
to Moana?
Yeah.
Credit where credit due. She jumped on the broadcast, and although she lives there, she did say she's not comfortable. Her words were not. I'm paraphrasing here. It was she's not super comfortable in ways of consequence, and she said like she identified that as a weak point. And she's working on it. So it takes a bit of guts to come out and be like, you know what, this isn't really like my strong suit. So
Yep.
yeah, I think you're right in what you're saying, but yeah, it's good to see her like take the mature approach and just be like, you know what, I'm still learning at this, and I'm going to give it a crack.
Yeah. No, that's cool. The next grouping of people were two. So I had two tour surfers grouped together, Katie and Luana, and then I had two Challenger Series girls grouped together, and it was
These are my
Sally,
two favorite on the planet right now.
Zach's two all-time favorite surfers
I want to
ever.
go to their parties.
uh, Sally Fitzgibbons, Yolanda Hopkins. Now they're both locked in for the tour next year. They would
Fantastic.
have been, yeah, Zach's pumped about that. But they would have been expecting much more of themselves in this event. Sally, especially, given she's got the clear advantage in terms of experience in these waves. She's not, this isn't her first time to pipe. She's been there many times. And a first round knockout for both of them is pretty grim, heading into a new season where Sally was in and out the front door last year, and she's managed to get herself back on. Yolanda has never quite experienced that, but I think she may also have a tough time, and that's going to be the thing is with both of these girls. I know they'll both go if required, so maybe just pin this down to a poor showing. But yeah, that a first round knockout at pipe for them, they would want to be making a bit more of a statement there. Just special shout out as well, though. Can't even remember if we touched on this yet. Yolanda Hopkins was sighted on multiple occasions surfing backdoor on her own in the dark. We may have said this last week,
It's not
but
even smart. Like, what coach suggests that?
mate,
That's a bad play.
it's dumb. It's like some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen, but I respect it, which
I
is
don't.
like,
You respect stupidity.
I respect the hustle of going,
That's not
there's
a
a,
hustle. That's crossing the fucking road with your eyes closed and going, it's good for your senses and your hearing to be in touch with nature. It's fucking not. It's stupid.
I this is where I stand on this. She's gone, there's 100 people out in the free surfs. I'm not ever going to catch a wave unless if I paddle out in the dark, I can have whatever wave I want. Now I may not be able to see the wave, and I'm probably going to get injured, but at least I'm going to have a crack at one, and I respect it. I know you don't love all that sort of stuff, but
No,
I'm
you've just summed it up. That's perfect. That makes total sense. That justifies everything.
okay. Let's leave that there then. My men's disappointment. I only had one. I thought this isn't actually maybe two now. I'll add this one in. Matthias Herdy, I would have liked to see him have a better showing here. I think he would have too, because he's slowly starting to drift down the rankings. He was in a really good position, lost early in this event. He's not my disappointment though. The one I really had was Baron Mamiya. Now, any event at Pipe that Baron doesn't at least final in is a disappointment in my books for him. He's clearly the class surfer of the field in this event. And he lost in actually good waves too, which was even more puzzling. Morgan and Joey Johnson put him to the sword they both had a 9 each. And usually Baron would find himself on not just one of those waves, but both of those waves in a heat. So he loses in decent conditions. Had he made the final, I don't think he would have won given the conditions they had. I think he might have struggled in those waves. I mean, he can definitely stomp a huge punt, but I think Cal and Morgs would have and Griffin would have done better anyway, or whoever he replaced in that final. But a round of 32 loss in a Challenger Series at Pipeline in good waves is a bad result for him, no matter how you splice it. Zach, you don't have to touch on this. You can if you'd like, but I'm happy to move on from there.
Oh, I think a lot of people would have thought he was going to. Has there been any events where I swear he would have been quarters or higher at least at pipe for his entire career, right?
He usually just like makes the final. He'll do like a QS 2000, he'll do a challenger, he'll do a pipe CT, and he generally just wins the thing or finals. So for him to lose in the round of 32 was a real shocker for him. Not to worry, he's on the tour, it's fine, but that was a bit disappointing in my books, and he would be probably pretty disappointed in that also. Now, that's all I've got. The negatives are out of the way now. We can get rid of those. Let's do
Oh
a bit
no,
of a.
we're not done the negatives, my
Oh,
friend.
okay. Okay. What have you got?
Okay, so the round of 128, big. Nah,
Uh,
no, thank you. Not again. I Here's what I was saying: have a trials and give them 4 spots rather than 2 or whatever. I'm happy for them to pick 4, or actually, well, the 4 best surfers of the trials win, or just even 4, or even 4 or 6 wild cards makes sense. But that round of 128 was a piss take. It took away from the event. It took time away that, like, the forecast. I know they didn't know this when they probably built the round of 120, but the forecast was always going to be really choppy changey, and you had to just jump on good conditions when they got it, and they added time to it to appease select crew. Don't like it. Don't want to see it again. It proved that none of them, except for Benji and Joey Johnson, the rest of the heavy hitters, like big names, didn't even get close. They got smoked by the Aussies in waves that were so suited to Hawaiians.
mm,
Like there is no, oh, the waves were fucked. It was fucking macking. It was
yeah.
huge. It was hard to read. It was a local's dream against someone who's not there, and they didn't capitalize on it. I think props for trying. And I think if I was there on the ground, I'd be like, yeah, look, I'm a part of a board riders club, and I would always try and promote the board riders club.
Mm,
But this one just felt like it was taking the mickey. I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, because there's a lot of people, I don't know about like as much online, maybe not, but when I'm talking to crew, everyone's kind of scratching their head going like I get it. It's a hard place to get waves, and you want to see big names and stuff, but I believe it was actually detrimental to the event in this case.
yeah.
So yeah, big disappointment is the 128 round.
hmm Yeah. I mean, they did utilize 4 man heats probably to I guess reduce some of that extra time that was taken up by that round. But I don't think that excuses I guess the need for an extra round. Like I think you're right. I think a better way to do this is have a trials before the event, and you get the same result, because you end up with Benji Brand and you end up with Mason Ho and Joey Johnson. They
Mhm.
they come first, second, third. What you know what I mean? Like they progress through the trials, they get their spot into the main event, and then we run from there. Rather than, hey, let's add an extra round to the event and do it that way. I feel like you do a trials before the window in whatever waves they get given. The cream rises to the top, because there was plenty of good surfers in that draw, but a lot of them aren't overly good at heat surfing. Like Koa
Mhm.
Rothman has had some of the better pipe waves I've ever seen. Just his actual ability to surf heats is really poor. And I think like have him in the event, but just have it as a trials before the event. And then that's when you
Trials
get
works.
yeah, then you get the
And
real serious guys in the main event, which is essentially what happened anyway, because you end up with Benji Brand, who is like, he's a dog, and he made heats because he's a dog. And you end up with that result anyway with a trials.
exactly. I
Mm,
think they've just opened a can of worms now. There's no reason why Merriweather board riders now can't ask for a board riders round. What
yeah,
do they say? Oh, you guys aren't bigger and scary enough and don't bully us enough? Like, what is it? There's no difference.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I just think it just goes to show that, I don't know, like they're obviously just, I don't know, like, yeah. I heard through Stab that he just went to the council, local chambers or something, and said, "Can we get more time to put the locals out? You want to have the locals there." They've had opportunity all winter. There's the Hui backdoor shootout that me and you would have to chop off our scrotum to even get a DM to their account. During that, they all went in the QS 2000. John's one.
Mhm.
They all went in this, and I just don't get it. Like, there's opportunity there, and then when they paddle out on the next day as well, they're the ones getting the waves too. It like
Yeah.
what? How do you ever expect anyone? Why I'm just going to ask, why the fuck do we keep going back there? If this just keeps happening, you might as well just run the event with them and just go, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Run it as a board ride. It's like, why do we go back there? Like, no one can get waves. People are injuring themselves because they're taking off too deep in the wrong spot, whatever. Why do we go there then if you can't even surf it and these guys just get a shoe in all the time? Like, I just don't
Yeah.
get it. And
Yeah.
then I'm so fucking happy that the Aussies just smoked them and out surfed them in ways that was suited for them. Like, watching Morgs, that fade you were talking about, that was highlighted by Josh Inez on the webcast. He said, I have not seen many people do that. It
Mhm.
just goes to show, like, I'm not saying they don't, what this legacy crew will call them, like, don't deserve to be out there or anything. I'm just saying, like, at what point do we draw the line in the sand and be like, hey, look, really like that you guys are interested in the event, but here's our framework, here's our structure. It is what it is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe we could throw in an extra. If there's like an injury, we'll put a local in. We won't
Yeah.
go down traditional rolling seatings of what we're actually supposed to do anyway. Like, call
Mhm.
up one from Spain and be like, you got to get here in 2 days. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like a bit of a piss take, and I'm probably banished. But anyway, big
You-
disappointment.
we nearly banished ourselves anyway with that Kaimana Henry. You telling you're going to slap him across the face. That nearly, I messaged you, he replied to that reel and said, shit odds, mate. And I messaged you immediately and went, Zach, I don't think we can go back to Hawaii. Turns out he's actually got the bit of humor in him because I think he came around to it in the end. I responded and he kind of gave us a nice reply at the end of it, which was good. But yeah, no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. And I wonder how much of that decision to go to the local government or whatever from Billy Kemper was out of personal interest in getting himself into the event because it's pretty rare you see a commissioner actually surfing in the event themselves.
Exactly. And he's making the call. Okay. Second disappointment from Zach. He's making the calls and he's in the event, and that's a whole different kettle of fish. But the final of the men's, and I really like WSL did this. They had the camera in front of Cal, Robbo, and Billy, and they were talking about whether to cancel for the rest of the day because it was absolutely heinous,
Mm,
and go the next day. And
mm,
Billy's there saying, this is the best it will be for the remainder of the waiting period.
yeah,
At this point, it was probably like, what, 2 o'clock local time, like blown out to the smithereens. And it was too big to do airs and like too windy for barrels. So it was like,
mhm,
what are you kind of doing there? Like, that's an awkward, at least if it's smaller and windy, you put your big board away and it's game on. It's an air event
yeah,
or turns at least.
yeah,
And the fact that they ran that heat based on that they didn't think there would be any better time in the next 48 hours was baffling. Finley,
yeah.
how often is morning, like early morning, even if it's onshore, less windy than 2 fucking PM or lunchtime? It's nearly 99% of the time,
Yeah,
unless it's like a storm, like a proper storm event where it's just nonstop for like 3 days straight, just like the same wind. But
yeah,
like traditional patterns are, it's like a U, like a inverted U, like kind of calm, windy, and then towards the afternoon, like towards like almost the last lick of light, sometimes it dies off a bit.
oh
Overnight, when the
you
land
mean
cools down, the wind
you
dies
mean
off,
you mean a Largo.
full Largo. But do you know what I mean? Like, would you not run? I get it. It's all hindsight, but would you not just be like, let's just go to bed, wake up
Mm.
tomorrow. We've got to run the girls anyway. We haven't even started the girls. Disappointment number 3. Um, and it's just stupid. I think that they ran the men's final in those waves.
I
Cal would
get
be
you.
loving
I
it. He
was
would
gonna
be
say
loving
I get your point. I just I love the final result. I wouldn't change. You know what I mean?
I don't
Beautiful.
want to change the result. I'm just saying the
Yeah.
guy's job was to get the best waves, and he didn't do it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the next day, Finley, it was pretty pumping.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was run one 30-minute heat.
hmm I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you. Uh, yeah. Zach, you've summed it up perfectly. I don't really have anything to add. We again, we're not overly educated on the X's and O's on what happened there and what was going on behind sort of closed doors. But from an outsider looking in, I feel like wouldn't change the result. Love that Cal won. I mean, beautiful. Run that heat. We get first and second for the Aussies. Unreal. But yeah, I think you're right in that just go to sleep, wake up. First heat of the day is the men's final. They get tubed. It's settled in actual pipeline and backdoor conditions, and then we go on with the ladies, which come the end of that sort of event, it didn't matter anyway because the waves were so poor. Whether they ran for an extra half an hour that day, who cares? You know, like
Mm.
it was still going to be onshore. So, yeah, love it all. Let's have a look at the rankings heading
Got one
into
more.
the final. Oh, you've got another one, do you?
Yeah.
Go on.
They butchered the women's again. That's year 3. That's 3 years in a row that they've just gone, yeah, pipelines for the girls. Let's just play that reel for like 6 weeks before the event and hype up the women and get all these like personal fucking interviews about how they're being empowering. They robbed them again. It is what it is. It's 3 years in a row where they go, build this hype, don't deliver.
Yeah,
Sorry, calling it. It's just, you have to put them out when the waves are big, and maybe not for a challenger. There's that argument, but hey, look, if they're there to be on the tour, then they're going to do that event again anyway. So you might as well. There was what 7 days between their first round and the last round,
hmm
and I think we spoke about this maybe off camera or last episode. I get it when the waves are really good, you want to see the best surfing, whether it's males or females, but I just have this thing where you have to try. Like, when do you try? Just got to put
mm,
them out there. Even if you just did one round, and if it didn't go well, just be like, hey, look, we're going to go back. We're going to revert back to the men's for the rest of the
yeah,
day or something. And
yeah,
that, in my opinion, was when the round of 128 for the men's could have been,
yeah, yeah. Getcha.
or even
Yeah,
round 32. Round 32. Round 128 was pretty big and scary. Like, I doubt there would have been many women keen to go out there,
mm,
except for Pickles, but or maybe Katie and a few others. But that, I think it was round of 32 for the men's, was like the best entry level into like seeing who wants to test the waters for the women. It was perfect, and
yeah.
get it. It's probably going to push the men into some shitty onshore ways, but how many highlight reels of the men have we seen over the last decade? Heaps. Like, there's room there. Like, you got to cop it every now and then.
Yeah.
And yeah, big miss. Not a happy
So
Jan.
selfishly, I enjoyed that they ran the men because I think we saw better surfing in those ways. I think we saw the conditions utilized better by the men than we would have from the women. But you make a great point in that it was perfect entry level. Like that's as good as it gets in terms of like it's just the start of like pipe getting a little bit big and scary, but it's not. You're not copping second reef wash throughs.
Mm.
Uh, it's nice and clean. You're not having weird lumps and stuff coming at you. Like that's as good as it gets for chucking the ladies out. And yes, I'm happy they ran the men, but I also would not have been disappointed for them to have the ladies out there then because I think we would have seen someone step up and get a crazy one, or multiple people get really good ones and get high scores. I know
Here's the
the
thing.
yeah, go on.
The thing is, can you tell me who got some crazy ones 3 years ago in the round of 32 at Pipe?
For the men's.
Yeah.
Nah, that's what I mean. Like
That's
you
what I
don't.
mean. Like, it's
Mm,
short term for the men. It could be like a proper pivotal moment for the women
mhm,
that they could use that. Like, they're probably using that Taddy wave where she got a 10 at Chopes they've been using that for fucking 3 years. Like, it
yeah,
could have been another, like, all right, let's just bite the bullet. Let's just do it, because when you zoom out and look at it, it's like no one's going to remember this round in 4 years' time. As good as
Yeah.
it feels in the moment, and as
Mhm.
hard as it is to be like, maybe we just have to cop it. It's just it keeps happening every time we get to pipeline. It's like, how the girls gonna go? Can't wait to see the girls give it a go. Push them to the end. Put them in the Northling every time.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to see those Molly Picklum and Betty Lou heats that get constantly replayed if you keep running them in onshore small slot. So there's that, and I already know the title of this episode, which usually I have to think about, but this one is called Zach Goes Whack. That's what we're calling it. So let's now
Or Big Kel.
call it Big Cow, yeah, or that maybe. Let's go into the rankings now. I've tried to do this 3 times. Zach continuously listed his disappointments, which I'm glad you've come prepared this afternoon or tonight. And
These aren't mine. These are shared. They're mine plus.
yeah, yeah, I think everyone are feeling the same. Now, on the ladies' side of things, uh, no movement up until 6th place. So Yolanda, Tia, Sally, Francisca, Vaselko, Nadia, Aristabe all remain exactly where they were. We have four qualifiers. We have Yolanda, Tia, Sally, and Francisca all locked in for this year's tour. Nadia's right there, but not locked in yet. We have Alyssa Spessar. She's the big mover here. She's moved up 5 spots into 6th place. And we have Annette Gonzalez Echabari, who was already in that top 7. She's moved down 1 spot because Alyssa's overtaken her. But other than that, that's the basically where the rankings stand. We have Laura Rout. She's in 8th. And that Laylaw, who I touched on earlier, she moved up 8 spots into 9th. And then outside of that, we basically just have India Robinson, who I believe was in 7th. She's actually moved down to 10th, which is annoying, but hopefully she can come good at Merriweather. On the men's side of things, let's get onto there. So Eli Hanneman just extends his first place ranking. He's on 26,000 points. Second place, Callie Vast is on 22,500 points. So there's no real risk there of Eli really dropping down. He's locked in, but I think the only result for him at the end of this year is first place in the Challenger Series. Callie Vast gets himself back up in a 2nd place. He moves up 4 spots, courtesy of a 9th place at Pipe. Georgie Pittar solidifies his spot. He's in 3rd place. Sammy Pupo moves down 2 spots into 4th. Luke Thompson still in the mix, 5th place. Oscar Barry, 6th place. That is kind of where I'm saying safe up to about Oscar. I reckon they're all a lock. Then we have Morgs, who's right there. He's just moved up 7 spots based on that 2nd place. He's into 7th place. Mateus Hurdy moves down 1 spot into 8th. Lobby moves down 1 spot into 9th. And Chippo, Jacob Wilcox, moves down 1 spot into 10th. The interesting thing here is, so obviously we have Cal. He's jumped up 23 spots into 11th position. Then from Cal, we have a nearly about 2,500 point gap, just over, between 11th and 12th, which is quite significant when you look at how close the other scores are, or the other point totals. That is Winter Vincent. So obviously, fingers crossed, we can get those guys inside that top 10. But the issue is we have 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th currently on the Challenger Series. Actually, if we extend beyond that, we have 6th, 7th, and then 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. All Aussies. So
That's a good push.
it's solid, but what that basically means is we're probably going to see a bit of friendly fire here, which sucks. Again, like, whoever qualifies at the end of this, like, I'm not going to pick favorites. They're all killing it, and I'd be stoked for any single one of them to get on. I'd love Chippo, especially, to just get himself back in there, because he winning that first event, it becomes a bit of a curse in the end. He obviously got injured, which didn't help his cause. But he's managed to get a couple of ninths outside. We had a 9th and a 13th, which has kept him inside the top 10. But he just needs one more decent result here just to push him and solidify his spot. But other than that, I think we just got to leave it up to the gods, and we're going to have a really solid Aussie representation. Jumping onto the actual main tour this year, it's just going to be who's going to knock each other out, unfortunately. But that's what it's come down to.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's the rules of engagement, isn't it?
It is. And to be fair, look, whoever doesn't make it is gonna have uh they're gonna have wild card opportunities, I imagine, right throughout this Aussie. Like we essentially have well, we've got 4 events between Australia and New Zealand. You'd imagine the wild card for New Zealand's gonna go to an actual Kiwi, but there's 3 events there where we could get one of these guys who miss out in the actual wild card position for that event. So yeah, just may the gods be with him, and when the dust settles, we'll have a look at it then. Um,
How was the camaraderie though when was it Zave, Hux, and Georgie Pitar? I think Zave got the crazy one at pipe, comes out and is smiling at George, and
yeah,
that they're both frothing. It's like that's the pinnacle of competitive surfing when you're in a heat with your mate, you're both trading 8+ rides, and you're actually smiling that the person you're trying to beat just got spat out of an absolute orb.
yeah,
That's the top. That's the creme brulee of
and
competitive surfing.
also in the final where Cal and Morgs, like when it was kind of going to be announced that Cal was going to win, they were both like giving each other high, like rapping each other, and even afterwards, the boys kind of going to two lads from Lismore Base Hospital because I don't know if you mentioned earlier, but Morgs must also have been born in Lismore Base.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so they like 2 lads just conquered Pipeline essentially from Lismore Base, which is pretty sick. So really cool to see that Aussie camaraderie just continue and go from strength to strength. That's kind of all we've got in terms of content. But what we do have is an extensive list of questions that we'll run through. I guess we'll just do like a quick red hot run through of these questions because there's a hell of a lot of them. Um,
And
all
we've
right.
got surfer of the week.
Oh, let's do that first because uh, I take
Winner of the level.
yeah, well, I take surfer of the week very seriously, and usually once and we kind of collaboratively come up with this decision, one of us will suggest a surfer, and we'll either run with it or we'll suggest someone else. But usually it's kind of yep, sweet, sounds good. This week, I was very dead set on one surfer, and that was to be Morgan Sibley. And then right before we sat down to record this episode, certain clip drops of Kai McKenzie, who he unfortunately was attacked by a shark in the last year or so. He lost one of his legs, I believe his right leg, and he's just posted a clip of him surfing and doing a proper frontside snap with a prosthetic on. And I just immediately just went, Zach, that's we got to run with Kai now because that is outstanding. Couldn't be happier for him. I don't know him. I've never met Kai. I don't know about you, but I'm just so rapt for him that he's able to get back in the water and like sort of push through not just like the physical boundary, but the psychological boundary of getting back in the ocean. He was dead set on it and he's going back out and he's doing snaps with a prosthetic on. Like that is incredible.
Yeah, he's a strong motherfucker. Like the caption of that video is even better, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Took my leg, but you can't take surfing," or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is strong shit right there. You'd have to like he could just go absolutely on a tear for the next 20 years at like the ISA Para Games, and just his trophy cabinet would just be falling apart just from the weight of all these trophies. You'd just go clean sweep, I reckon. I
He,
don't think there's anyone even close, like, to being that good on a surfboard with a prosthetic leg. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but, that's as close as you get to doing a turn that most people on Earth are trying to achieve with both functioning legs, so big
yeah.
hats off to Kai.
I like you say ISA World Adaptive Games, like mate, QS. Like it's just I don't think he's ruling that out for himself with that style of serving. Like obviously he's not there yet and it's gonna take a while, but for him to be doing that so soon after it happening.
A lot have quit surfing for much lesser, so,
Yes.
goes to show you the character he is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for the week, Kai McKenzie. Let's now go into these listener cues because, as I said, there's a lot.
I'll bring it up on my end too.
Do you want to just do? Yeah, we'll just do a quick run through. So, all right, Axel Cheryl. Yes. but we're not reading that one out for obvious reasons. Now,
What happened?
you can read it for yourself if you want, but there's definitely no way we're saying it. Now, so Line.Dyson, first question. Was JOB more interested in sucking himself off in the booth rather than talking about the surfers in the water?
I want to say yes, but truthfully, I didn't listen. I didn't actually hear that. But did you? Did you hear what was said?
I did. There was a little bit of self-fellatio
Me.
going on, but yeah, no, it was all. I mean, yeah, probably that's his character, right? He's very in your face. As a symptom of being a YouTuber, you kind of have to be a little bit sort of self-absorbed, and I guess that shines through occasionally.
They probably get paid more than every pro surfer put together. So who are we to judge?
Absolutely. Kai Spencer did the WSL want GP to come out of the barrel and do a corrupt flip for that to be a 10?
I don't know what happened if you leave it. Like there wasn't 110 at that event, right?
Nah. That was that. No, there was. It was that one, but they just didn't assign a number to it. But anyway,
It's almost like they were like, "Yep, 10, 10." Did anyone give it a 10 on the panel?
I don't think anyone gave it a 10. I think there's a lot of 9.8s. There's a few 9.8s, but I was like, Jesus Christ.
Just
Like,
keyboard warriors. They've been playing True Surf too much or some shit. I don't know.
yeah. So yeah, I think he did need to do a corrupt flip. You get a 10 there, Kai. Ben Curdy. Is this the best Aussie men's performance in a CS to date, even a CT? Like we said earlier, I'm not sure. I haven't done the research. It'd have to be up there as a guess.
Yeah.
Why did the women get to surf bad waves yet again? I mean, we've touched on that at length. We won't go into that again. Tom Holder, just have a yarn about the challenger rankings. We will do that more extensively heading into Merriweather. Sam Kemen.
We'll have a few scenarios too.
Yeah, well, I was going to say one of the listeners, Sam, he actually did us up like a generator to type in the results and potential sort of placings and see who's going to end up where. So we're going to get a bit funky with that over the next few days. So thank you for submitting that to us, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
George is a proven mad dog from Veno. Yes. Ruva, the locals round is a joke, taking points from guys who have grinded all year. Ruva, you're correct. Zach just went to town on that. There's a lot of questions asking you if they're annoyed that they didn't let the women's out, which again we've been through. What else have we got?
Were they just curious to hear my opinion, or were they sharing the opinion?
Well, they've named you, so I think they want to hear what you had to say. I'm assuming they knew there'd be some negativity there towards that. Should wildcard offerings be an equal number for all events on the Challenger Series? That's from Jason McLean, and you kind of said that. Yeah, just keep it the same.
Otherwise, you lose grip very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I've said, now the Merriweather Board Riders have every right to put 15 of their next gen surfers up.
Yep, absolutely. Harley Walters, Morg's MVP. Yep. Budson. Who was the most fried person in the event? Do you want to throw a name out? I mean, Joey Johnson pretty openly admitted he was getting pretty smashed the day before his heats and maybe even the day off. So, I mean, he's a red hot contender for that. I think you probably throw
Ryaru Itu for different reasons, but still fried to take off and jump from the top of that wave on day 1 or 2 that's fried.
Yeah. I'd also submit Mason Ho into that. He just generally is fried, I think.
Yeah.
Gabby Bryan looking like a world champ from the sauce bottle. You got anything to add there?
Disagree. Aaron will on that.
Okay. Hugh Week, get Cal Rollo on the podcast. Mate, we've actually been in talks with Cal before and it didn't happen. Because we could have claimed another Largo effect here, realistically, if this result was to happen after. But it's a missed opportunity there for us. But we do want to get Cal on at some stage. There's some weird relationship with Zach that's related somehow. So we'll maybe go into sort of what's that webcast?
Ancestry.
We'll go to ancestry.com. Rider Payne, Lob 2.7 robbed. I don't expect you to know the answer to this, Zach, because I'm sure you probably didn't watch it, but it was very borderline. I'm kind of wouldn't have cared either way if they gave him the score. Love lob. It was just the wave itself was so poor, and he did everything he could have on the wave, but there just wasn't much there for him. So at 2.7, I was kind of happy with that. Owen Kilby, ritualistic tendencies, greatest surf move in the last decade. Zach has mimicked that. So there's two people. Lot more about the ladies. Would you be willing to change the CT even at pipe to 4-man heats all the way through? That's from Zach Doran.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on a pro junior at pipe?
Big lineup. Sorry to cut you off there. It's a big lineup, and there's often waves that are 10 meters adjacent either side that can be missed. So it's just, yeah. I think four people. I think four's good.
Yeah.
Especially like somewhere like J-Bow or Snappy going one direction, but having the ability to have backdoor and pipe there makes sense for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Thoughts on a pro junior at pipe?
No,
Jaden.
if there's fucking Jamie O'Brien, we'll just do it anyway.
You'll bet, on bench warmers where it's like, can I see your birth certificate? And it's just I am 8 and there's like a $10 bill in there or something. That's Jamie. Ben Haney. After that performance, will Mateus Hurdy qualify or will he just fall short once again? I think he'll still qualify. I think he's going to get a good result at Merriweather. Although I would like for him to fall out because then another Aussie could potentially move him, but I think he'll get in. Wagner, Jay Correa, what do you think about helmets surfing at pipe? Zach, you're probably pretty vocal on that. I feel like are you against the helmets or do you like the helmets?
Ross Williams teed it up perfectly on the broadcast, and he said the only good thing about a helmet is saving your life or something like that. And I think that's perfect. Like, that's the perfect answer. Like, it's just there for one thing. They look fucked. They're terrible for your equilibrium and hearing where you are and all that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, they save your life. So
Absolutely.
hard to argue. It's like a seatbelt.
Yeah. Kyan Windia, don't you think there needs to be more point spread on the Changa? Going to pick on beloved Caltex here, but I think it's not right that someone who hasn't had a consistent year can end up 11th after one win.
11th. Yeah, I think 11th's not that good after one win, right?
Well, I mean, if you've won an event, there's only how many events? There's 7. Like you'd want to probably find yourself in that top 10 with an event win.
I think he's where he's at. I disagree. Sorry. I think that's pretty standard spot. Like, I wouldn't be frothing. Well, personally, I would be frothing at 11th, but like after a big win like that, you'd be feeling like a 7th above is kind of the benchmark, but 11th is still quite far down.
Yeah. And then Tom Fatty, we'll finish here. The male Aussie domination at pipe makes you wonder how many would qualify for the tour if they had more waves of consequence on the CS schedule. Agree?
Say it again.
Basically saying if there was more waves of consequence on the tour, on the Challenger Series, we'd see more Australians qualify.
Given the current CS group, I don't think so. I think they're all fucking super hungry.
Yeah.
That's where it all comes down to, and that's where the Aussie like kind of force in this event that we're talking about now is come from. It's they're fucking sick of just grinding and getting fuck all. Like they're there to for a living. They're there to survive, and that's what come out throughout the event. They're just all super keen to make the most of spending 25,000 Aussie dollars for being there for 3 weeks. Whereas, and I think that's what got the jump on the likes of the local round. They just got complacent, and these guys were just not having it. Fucking, I'm going to go sit deeper. I'm going to fade left and then fade right like Morgs does. I don't care if that's what you do here. I'm just going to do it. I reckon that's what's happened here.
Yeah.
And with someone like Jorgen, who's to say like he's not as hungry as well? So
yeah, I think it was just a real example of the comfortability of a lot of these Aussies in those waves at pipe, especially. And I think we probably wouldn't see more Aussies I don't think it'd be like a crazy. We'd suddenly have a massive influx of Aussies. Like the entire top 10 would be nearly all Aussies. I think we'd probably have a similar scenario to what we have now. But as you said, like there's a lot of guys on this Challenger Series tour who would benefit from having more events like that. Like Shion, just an overview, like Shion Crawford, you got Kelly Bass, who's also like he's been killing it this year, but he kind of love that. The Japanese guys like Ryara Ito, like who kind of just you he's there all year, but you don't really realize until he gets the pipe and he starts going friggin' crazy ones like Charlie Quivrant, all those guys. They love it. Finn McGill, they're all over it. So I think you'd still just see a consistent amount of Aussies who love the juice, continue to make the tour. Because this is our best year we've had in ages. Like I feel like you'd have less years where we only have like one or no qualifiers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And mindful, it's not the same story for the women's side. It's a pretty bad year for the women's side.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of all we got for you guys. We'll be back next week.
Definitely banned from Hawaii, but that's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah, hopefully I've never been, so I'd love to go at some point. So please don't write me in any exact comments from today. But yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we will be back next week with something. I don't know what we'll talk about next week. We've got a Burley QS event upcoming that is stacked to the rafters with talent. So there'll probably be some talk about that. And
we've also got Usher Cup this weekend, Finley.
Yes. So we can maybe do a little wrap up of what went down there. And if you're in Oz or I mean even globally, usually they stream this thing on YouTube. The Usher Cup is going down this weekend at Snapper Rocks. Tune in because it's basically all the best board riders clubs in Australia, plus a few more from outside of Australia, like the States and Hawaii have had a few, and I think even England last year had one. It's a massive tag team event. They go and surf snapper, they clear the lineup, and it's a bit of a spectacle. So tune into that because I mean, even last year had like I remember Zeke Lau being in the draw, guys like that. So yeah, it's really something to watch. So tune into that. That'll be on YouTube. Otherwise, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.